your brain, you're in the nerds domain. Come on in, it's about to begin.
Hi everybody, I'm Matt, and welcome to Nerds Domain Podcast. This week, I am talking with Raechel Henderson of Eggplant Productions about their books and their all the things that they put out every year. So, hi Raechel, how you doing?
I'm just doing just fine. Hi.
Okay. So, Raechel, I've done a few of these where we kind of interview people. Normally it's about Kickstarter, but your Kickstarter was over back in July. Is that correct?
Yes, we were successful. Yay.
Yeah. So I've got some basic Kickstarter questions, but I'm going to kind of skip parts of those, but I want to stick with the first two questions, which are really important.
Okay.
So put your thinking cap on and prepare yourself. In the impending zombie apocalypse, what is your weapon of choice?
That's a really good question. Fortunately, we've talked about this before, and I'm going to have to go with the axe.
The axe,
yeah.
Okay. Is your standard, wood axe, or are you full-on battle axe here?
I'm not strong enough for the battle axe. That would be Stefan would do the battle axe. I'm going to go for the wood axe, but with the reinforced handle, one of the new ones that have, the polymer handle and that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, second question. Again, really important. Gotta really think this one through. Given all the sci-fi that you know, what planet do you want to visit most?
Ooh. That's a hard one. I think, and now I'm blanking on the name of the planet, but the fantasy planet from Fifth Element. The cruise ship one was
the one that the cruise ship goes to, and
I'm really embarrassed because I love that movie, but I'm blanking on Planet Foston. Yes, I would like to go to Planet Foston and hang out.
Okay.
And have a really nice terrorist taken over time.
Okay. So not Risa? No. Not I don't know. Odd enough. I don't know. I don't remember much about Floston. I remember the ship, but I don't remember them ever going. They didn't ever go?
They didn't go anywhere, so there's lots left open to explore. But I just like the idea of it's Floston Paradise, it's a cruise ship, you don't do anything, and I've never really been one for cruise ships, but I figure if I was to go on one, I would want to go on one at another planet.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Well, let's start by talking a little bit about what you guys do over at your company. You're a publishing company, right?
Yes.
And you do, is it just ebooks and then the magazine as well?
Yes, everything is electronic, even Spellbound, which is the children's magazine.
Okay.
All, ebooks.
Okay. And so what kind of ebooks are you putting out?
Our focus is, we are a tiny micro press. We only publish 8 titles a year. We focus on science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Right now, we're really heavily leaning towards fantasy, just because that's what we've picked up to publish. But we do have we like the entire speculative fiction genre, everything from epic fantasy to cyberpunk to really scary and deep supernatural horror.
Okay. So, and then your Spellbound you said is your children's magazine.
Yes, it's for kids 8 to 12. It's fantasy. It's only fantasy, and it's fiction and poetry and artwork. It's basically me and my poetry editor Marcy and our art director Sam. It's basically us just making the kind of thing we would have wanted to read when we were kids. Okay. It's an excuse for us to be childish.
Well, there's never enough of those, right?
That's true.
So you've put out looks like 6 books so far this year, with 2 more coming out in October and November.
Yes.
I have read 2 of them. I know that we have a couple more to read. I think one of our writers, Shirley, already reviewed Spiritual Growths,
yes.
and I know she's working through Illusion of Steel. I read Dead on Arrival and was very happy I read it, and I read The Fine Art of Boxing thinking, wow, this is boxing, I'm not going to be interested at all, but I was exceptionally drawn in. Everything I've read has been very high quality. How do you keep such high quality coming out every month?
I go through a lot of really horrible stories. Everybody always, one of the things that people always tell me is, oh, if ever you need help reading submissions, I'd love to help you. And one of the things that people don't know is that when you get into publishing, you don't start off reading submissions because there are a lot of really horrible stories out there, and you will want to gouge your eyes out after a while and drink a lot. That's a reason why publishers and editors drink a lot. So what it is I have spent the last 2 years culling through lots of submissions to find really great stories. The 2 that you highlighted, Dead on Arrival and The Fine Art of Boxing, that's one of the reasons I loved those 2 stories and published them, is because that they aren't quite what you think they are when you start reading them. So it's a really slow process. We opened up to submissions 2 years ago, and we have so far published 9 stories. We got 2 more in the works. We have 2 more for next year, and I'm still reading through submissions looking to fill the rest of the slots for 2014.
Okay.
It's kind of like, it really is like a treasure hunt. And when you find something that is awesome, that you're like, this is a great story, I loved it, I want other people to read it, that makes it completely worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah, my biggest complaint about The Fine Art of Boxing was that it ended, and it wasn't long enough. But I guess
the funny thing is, the author Phil Void is working on expanding that into a novel length work, because it started off, it originally was published as a short story many years ago, and then he expanded to novella, and now he has told me that he is expanding it again to a novel. So it could be down the line that you will find a novel-length version of that with even more really strange gene punk and other acronyms thrown in.
I really liked what he did there. I mean, I have no interest in boxing whatsoever, but he pulled me right in. It looks like you say you're a micropress, and according to your website, you've got all of 4 people, 5 people, 4.
5, 6.
So it's
6
you
actually now.
Oh, okay.
I'm a big fan of nepotism. So Stefan, who's my husband, he works as the marketing director, and then I just brought my sister on to help with promotions. And when I say that we're a micropress, it's less based on employees and more on how many titles you publish and and kind of your focus. So we publish 1 title a month. So compared to like Tor or Doubleday or Prime, any of the bigger publishers, we're really, really tiny, which helps us to put out really great stories because we can focus on them and give them the attention they need for editing and the cover art and the layout and design and the production quality of the ebooks.
Yeah, and I'm really all of the art is unique and very much I want to say very much reflective of the stories.
That is all our art director, Sam Haney Press. That is all her really hard work. She does a lot of work with she does the cover art. She also does all of the art direction for Spellbound, and she will go through and has an entire list of artists and breakdown of what their strengths and weaknesses are, so that when I come to her and say, all right, I have accepted a story, we're going to publish a story, here it is, she can match it up, and she works really hard with the artists to come up with something that is unique and well done, and that fits the overall tone and theme of the stories. I'm really just super happy with the job she does.
Yeah, all of it looks great, and they're all different styles. Every one of them, each one has a very distinct feel. I like that.
We try to do that. There's a tendency for covers of, especially fantasy and science fiction, to fit a formula. You get a lot of the Escher girls, where it's the scantily clad women that are in a weird pose, or other very similar looking cover art.
Yeah.
And when we started off, I specifically told Sam I want each cover to stand up on its own, and I want it to be distinct. So what we do, in order to kind of make them all uniform in the fact that they're coming out from the same publishing company, is Sam, in every piece of cover art, inserts our branding, which is this little stylized spiral. And if you look at the covers, you'll find it kind of hidden in various places.
Oh, yeah, I'm seeing it. Okay, yeah. I like that.
It's a really cool concept, and I love it when she sends me a final draft of a cover, because she won't tell me where she put the spiral so that I can find it. It's kind of like a Where's Waldo sort of thing.
Right on. I like that a lot. That's interesting. So let's give me a little bit of background about your company. I know you guys started a while back, but there was a period of inactivity.
I started Eggplant back in 1997. Wow, that was like last century. Oh, and I started off. All I did was it was a little webzine. It was just stories and nonfiction posted to a web page. It was called Jackhammer E-Zine. The whole idea was each week there was a question of the week, and I'd publish stories and articles that somehow related to that question.
Okay.
It'd be stupid stuff like cats or dogs, which tastes better? Is money the root of all evil? Just all sorts of weird stuff, because I was in college and I thought I was smart and deep and profound. And that was just what it started off as, and over the years it kind of grew. I started publishing ebooks in the early 2000s, back when ebooks were like PDF copies being sold from people's websites. This was way before Kindles or Nooks, or this was like Palm Pilot days.
Yeah.
And at around 2003, I was publishing Spellbound as an actual paper magazine. I was publishing ebooks and doing a bunch of little web projects. And then I had my daughter in 2004, and that kind of put a strain on running a publishing company and having a baby, and so I put the company on hiatus until about 2011 is when I started talking to Steph and going, I think I kind of want to restart my publishing company. And Steph was like, oh, you should. This is totally cool. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. You don't understand what goes into running a publishing company. And he's just like, no, do it. And he was supportive of it, and Sam was like, no, I'll totally help out. And I'm like, guys, I know how crazy of an idea this is. And they're like, we don't care. Do it.
Right on.
Yeah. So and in 2012, we opened our doors with our first releases. Actually, we've been going for 1 year strong now.
Oh, right.
August 2012 is when we published our first novella. So, yeah. And now here we are, just chugging along.
And you've got, 2 successful Kickstarters under your belt, is that right?
Oh, yeah. That was what allowed us to restart Spellbound. One of the reasons that I had to shut down was that Spellbound was very expensive as a print magazine. It was awesome and very satisfying, and lots of people loved it, but it's really expensive to do prints. So when I was thinking, I'd really like to restart Spellbound because it's not just the chance to be childish. It's also because I felt like I kept seeing these, I'd see articles talking about the growth of the children's Kindle market and the children's ebook market, and how, in a year it went up like 400%. And I thought, wow, it would be really great if there was something like Spellbound for, because basically parents were buying their kids tablets and e-readers and then just loading it up with whatever they could find. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have something like Spellbound that parents could share with their kids?
Absolutely.
But I hadn't budgeted for that when I put together the business plan for reopening Eggplant. It was just supposed to be ebooks. And that's when I started, that was when a bunch of other people I knew had started doing Kickstarters. And I thought, I guess. And so we ran some numbers and said, well, if we could get $4,000, that would guarantee the first year's run. And I felt really weird about it because I'm like, you're asking complete strangers to, buy into this idea. And it was really nerve-wracking. And I hated it in that you have to promote it and get out there and tell people about it. But I loved it because we were getting responses from people going, oh my God, this is a great idea. And so last year we ran that and we got successfully funded so we could do our first year's run of Spellbound. And then this year I got an even crazier idea to do a print publication, do a printed book, because apparently I'm a sucker for punishment, and we just concluded that one successfully. So, yay! And now I've sworn off Kickstarters. I told...
For another year.
No. I told Stefan, I gave him permission that if I mention, hey, I'm thinking of doing a Kickstarter, he's allowed to come up to me and say, does this smell like chloroform to you? And then just knock me out. And then when I wake up with a headache, I could be like, was I talking about it? He'd be like, yeah. I'm like, thank you.
Right on. Well, I'm looking forward to my Kickstarter rewards, so I was happy to help support you guys.
Oh.
It was a great project. So
I did not know you supported us. We had like
yes, absolutely.
We had almost 400 people. So
I'm sure I got lost in that. That's easy to do.
All I've been looking at is like tiers and who's getting what EPUBs and who's getting what bags and stuff. So names, I haven't even looked at names, like occasionally. But thank you.
Oh no, absolutely. I was excited. I think I went with Spindles. I'm not positive. So I think
awesome.
I'm going to have to look.
Sam and I were just talking today about finalizing right before, because we open up to submissions October 1st, and so we were doing the final, all right, this is what we're doing for artwork and everything, and we are super excited about this project. We think it's going to be just amazing when it's all put together and said and done, and I enjoy the fact that right now we're still excited about it. Talk to us in a couple months when we're neck deep in submissions and neck deep in everything else and going, oh my God, why did we do this?
Yeah.
But right now, super excited.
Right now, it's great. Okay. So, what can we expect from the future of your company? I know you said one book, or 8 books a year, and then the magazine. Are you going to expand it all, or is that you just want to get that up and going and consistent?
I would love to increase our publication schedule. Right now, we've hit this point where we're at a sustainable level. So what we need to do is we spent the last year and a half focusing on getting the production side of things down. So now we can put out, from start to finish, we can put an ebook together, and that runs smoothly. Sam and I and the authors and everybody talks and communicates really well. So now our focus is on getting the word out, and if we can if we can increase how many people know about us, increase how many people are buying copies, then we can expand. I would love to be able to be publishing more titles per year. I'd love to maybe look into doing special e-anthologies for Spellbound. We did a dragon issue over the summer, and we just got so many great submissions, and we had such a great response to that Marcy and I were like, I wonder if we could just do it just like an anthology of just dragons. And I was over here going, if we're going to do an anthology, we're doing unicorns first, because unicorns.
Yeah, of course, unicorns. Absolutely.
Yeah. But
absolutely.
So those are things that I would like to do. I've occasionally toyed with the idea of making an imprint of middle grade readers, that's Spellbound is considered middle grade. That's the 8 to 12, and maybe expanding to do middle grade ebooks, novel length, chapter book like stories. But again, we've got to get to the point where one, sales justify it, and two, we have the time for it. Where right now we're maxed out on time. That'll change in another year and a half when my youngest Ben, who is now 2.5 years old, when he hits preschool, then all of a sudden I will have huge swaths of time where there's nobody else in the house but me and the dogs, and it'll be glorious.
Yep, some time to actually focus and not have to worry about children.
Yeah, not
those are always glorious times.
Yeah, not squeezing in work in the evenings, in the couple hours before I pass out at night, or in between naps, that sort of, or during nap time. So that's
no, go ahead.
No, it's just that's kind of the view for the future is, we want to expand, and now we just need to, our focus is on making sure people know that we're out there and being like, ebooks, science fiction, fantasy, yeah.
And like I said, I've read two. I started to read Spiritual Growths, and it was good. It was clearly not for me, so I handed it off to Shirley, who that is very much her. So I knew that was going to be very much her kind of book. So
Spiritual Growth is by an author, Lorianne White. We've published 2 of hers now, and I love her stories because I like to call them comfort reading. They are very much, they are not your usual, there's this trend lately in especially science fiction and now in fantasy to go dark and gritty and all dystopian and it's horrible and it's the rain coming down on your face as you stand there over your parents' graves and, I will get vengeance. And then here comes Lori, and it's just nice, sweet reading. It's comfort reading. It's the sort of thing you read. It's the equivalent to a nice cup of tea and some cinnamon toast. So again, I think that shows the breadth of our publications, in that we have Lori over here going, we have nice, happy feelings, and it's a gentle story, and then there's boxing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everything you guys have put out so far looks great.
Oh, thank you.
It sounds like the magazine is going pretty well. So it sounds like you're on a nice steady road where you're going to increase slowly as you are comfortable, and it sounds like you've got a good plan out there. So we won't see you disappear overnight.
Yeah, I'm here for the long haul. Publishing is really weird, and just because it has jumped into the 21st century and jumped into e-publishing doesn't make it any less weird. It makes it stranger in more different ways, and what you see is a lot of people jump into it and go too fast, and then next thing you know, you have 404 errors on their websites because they've closed down. And I specifically have set out with a business plan and with an idea that it's, this is what we do for the next couple years, and we just keep it slow and steady and make sure that we're still here 3 years down the road when we're finally to a place where all right, now we can expand and do more, and let's try something new.
Okay. And so you are currently accepting submissions, correct?
Yes, please.
They can go to eggplantproductions.com, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And there's all kinds of guidelines for what you guys are looking for, not just written stuff, but you have a place for artwork as well.
Yeah, we have guidelines for everything that we are publishing. We also have sample contracts online because I want everybody to see exactly what they're getting into. Again, we're a micropress. We're not Tor. We're not these big, huge publishers. So while we do pay, it's on the micro level. So I want people to be completely aware of what they're getting into. So yes, guidelines are up there. We are reading for everything. We are open for the ebooks. We are open for Spellbound. We'll be this Kickstarter, the Spellbound and Spindles that you mentioned earlier. The reading period for that opens October 1st.
Okay, that's coming up in just a couple days.
Yeah. I need to stock up on
no pressure, right?
It's funny. I didn't start feeling the pressure until we announced when we were opening the reading, when we would open for submissions, and I just saw this chorus of people going, "What? We got to wait till October?" And all of a sudden, I'm like, well, that gives you time to get something ready. And I had a bunch of people tell me, "Well, no, I have it ready right now." And I'm like, "Oh, this is wow. It is a little bit intimidating."
Right on. Well, it's good to be intimidated by people who want to be part of your company in some small way. So, where can we see you in the next year? I know you guys went to ReaderCon, is that right?
Yeah, we were at ReaderCon and WizCon, but that was back over the summer. In November, we will be at WindyCon, which is a local sci-fi fantasy convention. That's going to be in Lombard, Illinois. And then that's it for this year. And then next year we'll be back at WizCon and ReaderCon, and we're shooting for the WorldCon in London.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good goal. So where are WizCon and ReaderCon?
WizCon is in Madison, Wisconsin. It is a feminist science fiction fantasy convention. I went for the first time last year, and it was pretty awesome. The people there were really friendly, and it had a whole lot of interesting panels, and it had childcare. So all of a sudden, usually we go to conventions, and Stefan gets stuck on baby patrol, and while I work at the booth, because when you're a two-man crew at a convention, you just kind of get stuck that way. And for once, he could walk around without the kidlet, and it was kind of amazing. For once, he got to sit in the booth, and I got to walk around. It was mind-blowing. And that's over Memorial Day weekend. And then ReaderCon is in Maryland, by Boston, like in one of the suburbs outside of Boston. Wait, Boston, Massachusetts, not Maryland.
So, no Gen Con?
We keep meaning to do Gen Con, and in fact, every year it becomes more and more plaintive, our cry of, we really should do Gen Con. So there's the idea of perhaps going to Gen Con, not in any official capacity, but just as a geek family, because, we've gotten to the point where I really want to go to a convention that I'm not working.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's been years, and it would be really nice to go to a convention and just geek out and cosplay. And, like, Steph and I we're sitting down discussing what we could do as a family to cosplay at a convention.
Oh, yeah.
And now that we have an idea, I think we kind of have to do it.
Well, you're already set as the Incredibles, aren't you? I mean, you've got you've got four. I'm just thinking.
It's true. That's an idea. I think Stefan would go with that.
Yeah.
He's sitting over here. He finally came in, is giving me this look. I will pass that on to him. I think.
Oh, good.
I think we could do that.
Well, it looks like you guys are steaming forward. Looks like 2 more books this year. The Hag of the Wind.
Yes.
Coming out next month, and then Brass Stars coming out in November. Hag in the Wind sounds like horror, from the writing here, and then Brass Stars looks like cyberpunk.
Well, actually, the Hag of the Wind is actually fantasy. Haha.
Okay.
Fantasy with a Celtic flair. There's plaids and tartans and running around in kilts.
Okay.
And then Brass Stars is actually a sci-fi western.
Ooh.
It is. It's got aliens and gunslinging and psychotic cyber horses.
Okay.
I'm really pleased about both of them, and I'm really excited because I've never done a sci-fi western before, and I'm really excited to see what Sam comes up for the cover. And I just got a peek of the cover for The Hag of the Wind, and it's pretty badass.
Right on. Right on. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to read more of your library here. I can't say enough good things about you guys. I talk about your company and your books all the time.
Oh, thank you.
So, I'm happy to, and I was happy to support your Kickstarter, and now I just have to be patient for a year.
I know. I know. This is the other problem. This is one of the reasons why I love electronic, because we can put out stuff much faster when we're doing e-publishing, but print takes longer and is more expensive. But at the end, there will totally be. I can't deny that I'm excited about the idea of having a hardcover, a limited edition hardcover in my hand. It's I won't deny that there's a little bit of me going.
Right on. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. I was just looking at my level, and I am getting the limited edition hardcover, so I'm really excited about that. So, well, is there anything else you want to talk about? You want to talk about your Etsy stuff?
Oh, well, I know I've been posting some stuff about that. I'm trying to phase that out. I'm trying to get to the point where I like sewing again. Because I kind of got to a point, like, I did that I started sewing and doing the custom costuming when I got divorced so that I could support myself and my daughter, who was 4 at the time. And it was great, and I met a lot of awesome people, and I got into the LARP, and I met, like, you and Shirley and everybody. Yeah. But you get to a point where when you're doing something like that you started off enjoying, you start getting to the point where you're like, so right now I have 172 bags to sew for the Kickstarter in the next 2 months, so that's awesome.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. I'll put the kids on the surgery. It'll be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been, I have a backlog of stuff that I've been putting on the Etsy, but I'm hoping to get to the point where I don't do that anymore. I do sewing. I sew for myself and friends and family because I enjoy it, and because when you can sew, people, they like it. You can make friends through going, hey, I can make you a corset, sure. And so Nancy is hopefully eventually I will be phased off of that. But I would like to bring up that one project that we haven't talked about, which is a weird little project that I don't think gets enough love, except for now that Stefan has taken over the Twitter, is we have this odd thing called Miscellanea. And what it is it's kind of high concept in the fact that Miscellanea is a trans-dimensional library. And we post excerpts from books that don't exist.
Okay.
They're all little, like 300 words or less. I make little card catalog cards for them because I'm a dork and I love it. And I get to figure out, well, let's see, if this is a excerpt from a memo to End of the World Clerks, what Dewey Decimal number would that have? And we post it online. I know, I'm such a nerd.
I love you, Roach, but wow, that is nerdy.
It really is. I considered at one point getting going on to get an advanced degree in library sciences, and I probably should have, but that's another story. But it's on the website. It's just a little. It takes all of like a half an hour to flip through all the ones that are on there. We post a new one each week. There's 2 characters on there. There's the librarian and the janitor, and Stefan took over the. Because he's marketing director, he does all of the Twitter and social media stuff, and he has started the last few weeks tweeting as the janitor. So if you see weird stuff coming over our Twitter feed of, from the janitor,
please don't leave the book of animals open, especially not the
yes,
fox.
He has really taken a shine to doing those sorts of things, and they're hilarious, and I keep thinking about just getting him just a Twitter feed just for the janitor. But he loves it so much that when we're at WindyCon this year, we're going to have a party. So you're all invited, so everybody come to our room party on Saturday night. And he has decided he's going to be bartending, and he wants to bartend as the janitor. So now I have to make him a costume so he can cosplay the janitor. And
so WindyCon is when?
WindyCon is November 5th, I want to say, that weekend. But let me look, because, yes, you totally should come down. It's a really cool little convention. It's
November 8th through 10th.
Yes. And it's in Lombard, and this year's guest of honor is Jim Hines, who has written stuff like Libriomancer, the Goblin Quest books. He did a whole bunch of stuff on where he dressed up and did poses from sci-fi novel cover art. So he and Scalzi did a pose off, John Scalzi. And Pete Abrams, who is the Sluggy freelance artist, he's the artist guest of honor. It's a very fun local con. It's very friendly, very open, and we're going to have a party Saturday night. So everybody who's listening, and you are all invited. You should come and hang out at the party and check out a really cool little local sci-fi convention.
All right, yeah, it looks like... Wow, this is I like it. I like it a lot. And this is their 40th year, too. So they've been around for a while. They know what they're doing.
It was my first sci-fi convention, actually. Way back in 97. Around the time when I started Eggplant, yeah.
Wow, right on. Okay, well, is there anything else you want to plug? I mean, we'd be happy to talk more about it.
I'm trying to think. I told you I will talk about Eggplant until you pay me to shut up, but I also realize it's a Friday night, and I think Stefan's making frozen pizza and opening up the ciders, and because that's our Friday night ritual. But I just want to encourage people to check us out. Check out if there are any artists or writers or poets to check out our guidelines. We are always looking for more stories and for different voices. We have always prided ourselves on the fact that we try to be as inclusive as possible. And I think that you can look at what we've published so far and seen that we do. We put our money where our mouth is. So come check us out and say hi. Come talk to us on Facebook and Twitter, and send us your stories and your poems and your artwork, and help us make a really cool place to read novella-length fiction, stuff that's short enough to read in one sitting.
Absolutely. And so they can find you at eggplantproductions.com. Yes. They can also find you on Twitter at Eggplant Production or Eggplant Product. Yes. Is that right? Yep. And then what are you on Facebook? Do you know that?
I think
it's probably facebook.com/Eggplant Productions.
I believe it's that, or Eggplant Literary Productions, because the actual name of the company is Eggplant Literary Productions. It was supposed to be Eggplant Productions. And I'm going to tell this story that's very embarrassing.
Oh, it's fine. We love embarrassing stories.
I know, and I figure I might as well, if I can't be, I should be informative and entertaining for you, Matt, who runs this really great podcast that I love seeing all of the stuff that you post. So, the company's actual name is Eggplant Literary Productions. But when I started it was Eggplant Productions. The name comes from when I was in high school and thought I was even more profound and deep than I was in college. And I stood one day and I said, "In the forest of life, there are mighty redwoods and lowly mosses, and I am an eggplant."
Okay.
So when I decided to start the company, someone had already incorporated under the name Eggplant Productions. So I was advised to just shove literary in there, and so I did. But yes, if you look for Eggplant Literary Productions on Facebook, we're there, and you can like us and post stuff and talk to us because, that's what social media is for, correct?
Absolutely.
That and to have spam bots.
Oh, yeah, that too. So it is facebook.com/Eggplant Literary Productions. And I think that'll do us tonight. You should definitely go check them out. You should, if you have any writing talent or any aspirations to writing talent whatsoever, or if you can write really, really bad stories just to poke at Raechel.
Yes, please send me your horrible prose. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
You should definitely check out their guidelines and what they're looking for. They do want quality, and I'm sure that we have plenty of listeners out there that have that quality. But I think that'll do us for tonight. Thank you for listening to the Nerds Domain podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdsdomain. You can follow us on Twitter at nerdsdomain. I'm at Quiet with an extra T there. You can go over to iTunes, give us a rating, put a couple of stars on there. That'd be awesome. Write something down about how great we are or how mediocre we are. Just don't tell us how bad we are. And then you could go over to slashloot.com and get our shirts there. You could go to tinyurl.com/ndshirts. And we will talk to you real soon.